Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
So thanks for staying with us. Angry residents of Ikorodu have meted out jungle justice on suspected Badu cultists in recent times. According, another one happened actually over the weekend, where 3 suspects were recently lynched to death. According to the reports, the suspects were apprehended at about 2 a.m. in an SUV. And upon search, a big stone and diesel and cutlasses were found in the vehicle. When questioned, suspects could not offer any proper explanations on what they used the objects for and where they were heading to. As a result, the suspects were beaten up, burned to death. While confirming the development, the Lagos State Police Relations Officer, ASP Olufemos Cole, has cautioned residents of the area to please the deceased from jungle justice. Now, what are your thoughts? Because we totally all condemn jungle justice, but when you're faced with this kind of danger, those kind of things happen, and it seems as though residents are somewhat on their own. So call us on 070-8066-8014. You can tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. We'd like to hear your thoughts, your views on this issue that happened, especially with the Badu. We totally condemn it because it's illegal. But also, we're also going to discuss what the government is doing, the police is doing. Let me hear your thoughts on when you heard about this jungle justice. What came to your mind? Who wants to go first?
For me, this is a serious dent in the image of the Nigerian police, because every community in the world have peculiar crimes that are peculiar to them, and they grow, they advance in facing them. We have forensic science today abroad because they've had situations where it is necessary and they've used it, they've developed it. Ritual killings is something that is very, very rampant in Africa, particularly Nigeria. And I would expect that by now, that our security agencies are used to this kind of crime and have formulated different measures to meet it. Now we have a situation where the Badu gang have reigned from June last year to June this year, killing families, making an area, a particular area, very unsecure for the people to live. People are selling their properties and running out. And the style of attack is usually ritual style, stone killing and all that. Different reports have come. I would expect that by now, the police lay day and 24 hours, policing around that area of mufti policemen, sniffing out information from community members, looking at families that are, supposedly likely victims, right? Because I think their style of attack, there's a trend. Yeah. Picking out people so that we don't have a situation where the people now take justice into their hands. When you cannot find justice, nobody can determine what ways you will seek it. Right. People in Ikorodu now are taking it into their hands, and that's where you have jungle justice, where they catch someone they suspect has oil in his car, like we have in the report this morning, and they are thinking this is a Badu person, and they will stop a police van from picking up those people because they feel when they get to the police station they'll be released. You see, that was the angle I was going to take it from, because the issue of the vigilante, I thought, are they empowered to take justice into their own hands? Because I thought the vigilante's work is to identify and hand over to the police. But somewhat recently, they just keep to take the laws into their own hands. They're not empowered, but they cannot stop a mob action.
I'm in the middle of both, right? Because I'm surprised that I'm going to be on the side of the police this morning, because if your budget was 16 billion or 17 and you only had 6 billion, it's survival first. You want to get paid your salaries before you start thinking of investigation or so these ones, I want to even, what's the word, sacrifice my life to go into the creeks to go and find out investigation, blah, blah, blah. She did tell us that when you're going into police, that you're going for service. That's why I said that I'm on their side and I'm on the side of the citizens. I saw a video where the Commissioner of Police, Owoshieni, went into the creeks himself, leading you know, a gang of policemen to go and make arrest, and that's a dangerous operation. For someone to do that, you have already sacrificed your life.
Yes.
You know, so they're doing the much that they can do within the confines of their own funding. All of us want to get paid, but then again, on the side of the citizens, I can imagine that every time, because of how porous our laws are, or is it in the implementation of the laws, that you find that this person that we said killed his brother's wife and 4 children, we handed him over to the police when we arrested him, and 2 weeks later, he's back on the streets. You know, so the next person that I'm going to catch, I'm not going to hand them over to the police. So it's a systematic problem.
Let me come to Owa.
Well, I believe that is a community, right? Ikorodu is a small community, and it has its own leaders and traditional rulers.
It's a big community,
you know.
though.
It's not that big,
Very
you know,
big.
that have
It's big, and they have
their own rulers,
yes,
and their
obas.
you know, their obas there. And that particular area where this crime has been ongoing for a while, they have people there that are in charge. You see, first of all, I would like to go back to what we talked about, was it last week, about state policing. It is very important that we understand that it is no longer saying that, okay, we don't want political leaders to abuse state policing. But in this kind of situation, state policing would have been perfect, because you would know everybody in that, you know, in that area. You know, so when we have traditional leaders that do not even understand their role, because most of these traditional leaders are the ones that when you want to build a house, they will tell you that you have to go and pay this, you have to go and pay that. You are paying for so many things, for protection. So why can't they take ownership of this?
Okay.
I'll come back.
Let me take Raji from Ikorodu. Raji, are you there? Thanks for calling.
Yeah, good morning.
Morning.
Yeah, I'm first-time caller.
Welcome to the show, Raji. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to make a contribution to this, your Bado Ikorodu, because I reside in Ikorodu as well.
Yes.
Yeah, please, this issue of jungle justice, I think it is the right time we do that in Ikorodu. It has been happening in a country like Nigeria for more than 1 year. Nothing has been done from the police.
Okay,
So we find it difficult in every aspect to believe that police are doing everything to assist the community in the Ikorodu area.
Mr. Raji, are you aware of what happened in Alufo?
No, this
The
case,
miscarriage
let's
of
hold on. Let me finish the point I was trying to make, Nima. So, you see, if the police were on top of their game, there are allegations, I read in the reports this morning in the papers, there are allegations of them using handkerchiefs to wipe the bloods of their victims, and they sell this handkerchief for 500,000. These are, I mean, there are, you know, because you can get information from the streets, right? So where is the role of investigating to say, okay, who are these people? The allegations are like they sell them to political elites, and they sell them, you know, and it's in preparation for 2019 elections.
These are stories on the streets.
No, you see, but the truth is that
We can't confirm it.
you cannot say the story is just coming out of the blue.
But
so let us find a way
Okay.
to investigate properly, because if the people always see that the police, they are not on top of their game, that is when they go to this
on this case, it
jungle
seems as though the
justice.
police actually, they are working towards ensuring that they get security for these people. Let me come to you want to make a point.
Miscarriage related to jungle justice is why everybody must understand that, you know, this is not something that we should resort to. If, for instance, somebody, God forbid, was a mechanic who had fallen somewhere and could not get anywhere to bathe, and he was traveling because he had oil on him and he was carrying his tools, and somebody just alleges mistakenly in a very, very tense situation of people, of crowd tense, that it's probably a Bado at the killing.
Yes.
It turns out to be your family member. How would you feel?
Right,
That's why if
condemn it.
the police are the only legitimate group to carry out investigation and arrest,
Let me take this
and
call
they must
quickly.
be up on their on top of their game.
Let me take this call quickly from Obina. Obina, are you there? From K2.
Yes, ma, good morning.
Morning, thanks. Go ahead, please.
I'm first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Okay. This jungle justice happening in Ikorodu, I would say, is due to the feeling these people are passing there. You know, this Bado have done a lot of atrocity there in Ikorodu, and many people are afraid now.
Right.
Okay, if the police are very legitimate to take this Bado, what do they call it?
Gang.
Into their hands, they should please do it well. for the past how many months now this issue has been going on.
Right.
We've not heard anything about them. The police have not been doing well. They've not been going out. They've not been doing anything.
All right,
and the
Obinna.
residents have no other option than to do what they are doing.
Okay, thank you very much, Obinna. We do know that they've
the
arrested
papers,
100 suspects,
over
hanging them.
100 people.
Over 100 suspects have been arrested already. But I wanted to bring you back to the Obas, the Bales. Is this a failure of leadership? Because the truth is that if the community sees that the Obas are involved, like even if a petty thief is caught, maybe there's some kind of some kind of punishment meted out to him, maybe people can trust that the Bales will take ownership. Because if for the vigilante groups to take out the kind of action on these suspects, is it because it's a failure of the the police? Yes, we know, but all of the leaders, the communal leaders, the people, they should have handed them over to the Obas, trusting that the Obas will do the right thing.
Leaders.
And there are some allegations that Bales have some powers, you know, that maybe you do some sacrifices. If you're passionate about what is happening in your community, you ensure that the gods that you worship protect your community. But there are also allegations that some Bales in this community are culpable.
Aha. Let's take a quick call, then I'll come to Nima. Thanks for calling. Are you there?
Yeah, good morning,
Yinka.
Jumoke, and all the ladies.
Good morning.
How was
Morning.
your weekend?
Fine, thank you.
In as much I will not support jungle justice about this battle of Efrain, but at the same time, now as we are seeing in Ikorodu, we don't have any other option than to resort into this jungle justice. Because the commissioner earlier said the other time, the DPO, the area commanders, the man was cursing there. He was talking out of anger because he's being frustrated. Because if this thing should persist for a year, definitely there must be a collaboration between those gangs and some top officers of Nigerian police officers.
Wow.
Just like later Abacha said, he said if there is a crisis in 24 hours in any part of Nigeria, definitely the government is aware of it. If there is no government involvement, definitely there
right.
will find any crisis within 24 hours. So if all these things should be going on, it's not. What happened at Odonguyan yesterday?
Yeah.
3 Bados were caught. They were caught with the alleged vehicle they were using. As Lagos is concerned, you know what authority of a thing? The vehicle they bought alongside with these 3 boys have a registration number.
Yeah.
So with that, the police officers already have a clue to investigate who the vehicle's owner is.
Right.
And from there, they'll be able to investigate and do most of the thing.
Okay.
So,
all right.
in Ikorodu, I think what they are doing now is the best thing if anybody has witnessed what those battles
Thank you very much, Olayinka. Do you have tweets?
Taimi Lawal says there is no justification for an angry mob to terminate anybody or person's life in a country governed by laws and order. Then Anima Shawn says, yes, jungle justice is wrong, but some part of the Bible also read an eye for an eye. Ms. Pearl says, I am with the vigilante on today's topic. The same happened in Alimosho local government years back.
Okay. We need to
I
round
want to
up.
quickly conclude that even if we clamor for state policing, we may have the same issues of funding and value for life. So if you do the right thing for the Nigerian police, they'll be motivated to do more. Because we already have vigilantes that are able to give information. But what do we do with the information
For me,
after?
we need to round up, unfortunately. But I think I wanted to end what Nima had said, saying that there are certain peculiar crimes to peculiar neighborhoods, and we need to devise means. So ritual killings is different from the textbook type of crimes. So let us find ways in a way to curb this in our community. All right? That's all we can take on this segment. When we come back, we're switching over 360, understanding tax, amnesty, and refunds. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So, Acting President Yemi Osinbajo recently launched the Voluntary Assets and Income Declaration Scheme. In view of the new scheme, he stated the statistics from Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, shows that out of the active population of 70 million people in Nigeria, only 14 million of them are taxpayers. To enlighten us on tax amnesty is a council member of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Dr. Ikenna Nwosu. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much.
You can call us on 070-8066-8014. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. All right, so we've talked about the budget several times on the show.
Yeah.
And we understand a huge chunk of the revenue expected from the federal government is from taxes.
Yes, ma'am.
We also understand that taxes, there are some people who are in that group of pay where they are from their monthly salary, pay as you earn.
Yeah,
those are the ones that collect that the federal government gets. They can actually see and monitor. But there are people like Jumoke and Co. They're entrepreneurs we can't really monitor what revenue. How is this new scheme by the acting president, the executive order, how does it help to monitor and track these entrepreneurs who are evading tax?
Okay, very interesting. Well, the truth is, there are two important documents there: the executive order and before the executive order, the acting president's speech.
Yes.
I think the speech was actually more revealing than even the executive order itself. Now, both are just a snippet of the larger tax reform the federal government has done. In his speech, the vice president made startling revelations. 17 million
14 million
are active in the economy from the population of almost 200 million. Only 20% of that 70 million, that's 14 million people, are active taxpayers. Of the 14 million, 96% of them are PAYE. So the remaining 4% are, like Jumoke, you say.
Like Jumoke, who goes willingly to pay her
called
tax.
direct assessment. Now, what happens to the remaining 70 minus 14 million? That's a lot of gap.
The remaining 80%.
Exactly. So the government started. The government, what they did was to check what happens in other countries. They set up what they call lighthouse projects in the presidency, undertook an assessment of various databases, immigration, BVN and all that, and brought in one of the world's best asset tracing firms, and came to the conclusion that rather than take the adversarial approach, it's better to be more pragmatic and have this new scheme, which has been operated successfully in other countries. Specifically, the acting president mentioned India, where it was operated for about 3 months, and then they got 350,000 people coming into the tax bracket and made about $1.2 billion US.
You mentioned now that you said for 3 months. I was thinking this this policy was for a longer period.
This is for 9 months. I said, what happened in India?
Okay.
No,
for
Nigeria is 9 months.
March 31st, 2018.
March 31st, 2018, from 1st of July. His intention is to raise $1 billion within that period. And within that period, anybody who either has not been paying taxes, or you have been underpaying, or you have not been complying 100% in other aspects for all types of taxes, federal, state, or local governments. You should now voluntarily declare whatever is the shortcoming or begin to comply. No penalties.
No imprisonment.
No imprisonment, no interest. And interestingly, even for those who are currently having a tax dispute with any of the tax authorities, can forget the dispute and go straight into this. But he made an exception. If a decision has already been taken in your case, whether in court or otherwise, then you're not going to benefit from this.
Okay, maybe not the dispute, but for instance, somebody who you used to pay before and then you stopped, the economy went bad. Now, if you go back, the normal thing is to get penalized. So you get, you ought to pay something else. It's saying, no, you won't get penalized. So if the last time you paid was 2014 in the former government and you're coming back willingly, so are they going to, are you going to start afresh, or you have to pay your backlog?
Well, your backlog, of course, first of all, would depend on whether you made a profit or you made a loss. If you're not making a profit, then there's a minimum tax you're expected to pay. It's a rock bottom amount. So even if you're in deficit, maybe you had a loss and it's taking you about 3-4 years to come back to profit or to break even. There's a basic minimum you have to pay. Now, what Nigeria is a bit late in coming onto this V8 scheme. Because it was the G20 that brought this idea up in 2010 when they found a lot of illicit funds moving around. And they needed to make money from that. So the OECD, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, which is about 37 countries, came together, brought out guidelines for that in 2010, solidified it in 2012, and by 2016, over 51 countries have taken part. So Nigeria is just signing in a bit late.
Right. As usual.
Now, the good thing about it is, yes, it's going to give some waivers, and it's going to give you, the Vice President said they're going to be given 3 years to space your payments in case you have a large backlog.
Right.
And he says confidentiality, any information obtained from you in the course of this amnesty cannot be used against you.
Right.
Okay, that's good.
Fine, that's the upside.
Wow.
That's the downside.
Now, the downside, the acting president in his speech said this applies to taxes covered by federal and state governments and local. But in his executive order, he didn't include the local government.
Does he have jurisdiction over them?
Of course.
Well, it's a joint tax board.
Okay.
So he didn't mention local. And it is the executive order that has the force of law, not the speech. So they have to make an amendment there to include local.
So I understand the amnesty part.
Okay.
What I'm confused about is the refund part. When does the person qualify to get refund on taxes paid?
What do you mean by refund on taxes paid?
Now, this morning, myself and a friend were discussing, and he said, okay, for paying your taxes consistently for a number of years, do you qualify to get a refund? And I was like, I don't know of any such law. I don't know if this policy covers it.
Okay, if you're an NGO or something where...
so you're an NGO, you donate a seat, you do charity events.
That is if you paid in error.
Yes.
Aha, only to pay
Well, that would be unusual because in the first place, the tax authority, when you want to make that payment, you're going to declare it on your form. If you're an NGO and you're not supposed to be taxable, they're supposed to tell you at that point in time. And in any case, you're supposed to have a tax expert who's supposed to do your audit for you.
Okay.
Now, but I have not finished with the downside, or maybe even flip side. If you check it out, you see that when the vice acting president says you'll be immune from prosecution, he says any tax authority, staff, or other person authorized to receive information on this voluntary declaration cannot use any information he obtained against you without authorization. That means there is a condition under which they could use the information against you. Now, that is going to affect the voluntary, you get my point? Secondly, some people are asking, why is he restricting it? He said this amnesty is going to go back to the past 6 years, which means 2 years of Buhari and 4 years of Jonathan.
So 2011.
2011. So yeah, so some people are looking at it. Is this politically motivated? Why, in that regard, 6 years? Why didn't you go back all the way? But again, you wouldn't blame government because when the president himself, General Buhari, said he was astounded at the level of looting in the past 6 years. However, the looting did not start then. It started before then.
Look, we all agree. All right, let's come to the other tax question you had.
You know, we don't have a proper system here in this country where you say, okay, you can just click a button and history will come out. Yes. Small businesses like Jumoke and I.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
ma'am. You know, small businesses like ours, we do not have proper report system. So we don't even know whether we are even making profit enough to say we want to go and pay taxes. So my question is, how would this be measured? If I say that, okay, I come and declare that this is what I have, how would it be measured? Because we do not have a proper documentation that would show that this is what the person is making or what the person is not making.
May I add to the question? Good. Because my own business, for instance, if I need a certain amount of money to even hire the accountant to do my reports, which I normally do, and the business isn't even making enough money, maybe that's the reason you didn't do it. This tax rebate is good. But there are even times when you have paid your tax because you calculate how much you made for the year, your profit, but you don't get some of your withholding tax certificates on time.
Correct.
When you then do, you realize that no, it's even the government that is now owing me. That's when we talk of tax refund. So do you get a refund in that they give you money, or your subsequent taxation, that amount of money is deducted?
Their accounts will be balanced.
Okay.
In the first place, most people don't know about withholding tax. And the fact that you are entitled to a receipt.
Certificate.
Yes, the certificate for it. Now, if the certificate is supposed to go towards meeting your tax obligation.
Yeah.
So if you overpay, if you paid,
Yes.
and later you get receipts, it's
Yes.
balanced against the next
year.
year.
Gotcha.
Okay.
And the year after, and the year after. You can continue to use it.
nice.
It doesn't have an expiry period.
Okay.
Because the tax is withheld for you.
So my
Okay.
question how
Now-
do you trace the system, you know?
Good. Many people, many entrepreneurs, MSMEs,
Yes.
especially the micro and the small, are not really trained in bookkeeping.
Yes.
That's the point.
Higher accountant.
The acting president and the FIR and the Joint Tax Board, in his speech, and I'll say it again, because a lot of attention has not been given to that speech. The speech should be given more highlight than the executive order, because it traced the history and the basis for what he's done.
Okay.
He says that because they are aware that there is very little sensitization of the public and they don't know what they ought to do, he has recruited 7,500
Liaison officers.
yes, community health liaison officers who every Thursday,
You come and knock on your door.
effective from this last Thursday,
Yes.
they're going to do sensitization nationwide to explain to people what you should do to pay the right tax, why you should pay, what are the benefits and all that. But more important, the acting president made one important statement in that speech. He said, there is this expectation from Nigerians, reluctance to pay, on the ground that Nigerians are not getting good governance.
I was going there.
And that each of us have become like a sort of local government to ourselves.
Yes, so
We drill a borehole, we have our mega, we have our...
Let's have a quick break. When we come
Hit
back,
it like
I'll let you talk about this
Action.
Okay.
extensively.
that's the meat of it.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Just staying with us. So you're talking about the reluctance of Nigerians to pay tax because of the fact they feel that they're not getting the social amenities or social infrastructure. Please continue on that.
Sorry, can I even add on that? Because I'm an SME. For instance, I take on a loan from a bank, and the bank gives me the loan at 28%. That's already killing.
Sure.
So the government is not even supporting, you know, it seems that most of the SME promises they make is just on the pages of the papers and in the media, because when we approach these banks, we do not have those one-digit percentages for SMEs. So I'm stuck with
Paying back your loan.
Those loans. I'm stuck with putting
Generator,
inverter, solar system, you know, paying my staff. At the end of the day, as an entrepreneur, I do not even pay myself a salary.
You're not even making money.
I'm not even making money.
And then they're asking for tax.
And you're now asking me to come and pay taxes. Please, why?
Excellent.
Perfect question.
I'll even help you to worsen the situation.
Okay.
Apapa is completely blocked off.
Jesus.
Businesses have moved out. The tripartite agreement between Dangote, Flames and NPA to fix the road is going to affect 1 million jobs. 1 million companies and homes. How are you going to go tell them to pay taxes when for the past 5-6 years they've not been able to access their offices? Even my office was in Apapa. I had to move out of Apapa. Most people in Apapa moved out to either the Eric Moore Surulere end or you go to the other end, the Kirikiri side, so that at least you are within the environs. Those who have cargo in the port who want to get their cargo out and they're paying demurrage and storage unnecessarily, and you want them to go and pay tax. Apapa's situation is just pure evidence of lack of governance.
Right.
It didn't start with this regime, it started before then.
Yes, sir.
And we feel that that should have been made better. So I'm adding to what you said.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, the acting president made it very clear that he knows that, and I use his words, that ensuring expectation of tax compliance is going to come with public expectation of accountability and service delivery. That's what he said.
Yes.
although his executive order did not pay enough attention to that, but he said it in his speech.
Right.
Now, my own opinion, informed opinion of my colleagues in the Lagos Chamber of Commerce is that you are now saying that citizens, and whether citizens or not citizens, corporate individuals should pay taxes, voluntary, and you are going to sensitize them. Are you sensitizing federal, state, and local governments on service delivery of governance
Hallelujah.
to Nigerians? Every Thursday should be local government town hall meeting day. They should do this. If you're going to get all those 7,500 people out to the streets every Thursday to come and tell us why we should pay taxes, all local governments should have town hall meetings every Thursday to tell us how they've been using the taxes they have been paying to deliver service.
Right, let me take this
And,
call.
okay, and then every state government should do their own town hall meetings once a month as well.
Okay, let's take this call from Yakub. Yakub, are you there? Thanks for calling.
Yeah, I'm there. Ryan,
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, thank you for bringing on this topic again, because I thought Chief Yori discussed about it last week. You see, my own position is this, sir. I have just two questions. Number one question is this. You already said this, but I want you to expand on it. Is that, what about if, because Nigeria is a very good country that is easy to govern, if Nigerian citizens are paid these taxes, and then the government fails to deliver the dividends of taxes that we are paying to them to us, how are you going to hold them? That is number one. Number two, there are some companies in this country, especially here in Lagos and the other states in this country, that some people are working in the company, and then the company are deduct tax from their salary. They don't even know actual amount that these people are deducting from their salary. Even the school, public school, before they pay them the salary at the end of the month, they already reduce the taxes. And then those people don't know actually how much are they reducing their taxes. And then these taxes are not paid to the government. What are they going to do?
Thank you very much, Yakub.
That's a private matter, actually. It's the employee against their employer. Payee is supposed to be 5% of your salary. If they deduct more or you don't know how much, go and ask your employer.
Okay, I was going to ask you, sir, when you mentioned the Dangote MPA agreement to repair Apapa Road, the Apapa Road situation is already a situation in our face. And if this agreement is supposed to affect businesses there and make things worse, what solutions can you prefer to the situation on ground?
Well, a stakeholder gathering was had on Friday last week, and part of the agreement was they want to do what they did in Abuja when Abuja airport was closed and Kaduna was open. They need to create alternative routes.
Yes, sir.
For people to go in and go out, and they want to do a schedule. Maybe if trucks cannot go into the port to load until after 11 in the morning, when human beings
in their offices
who are working have gone to work. So you load between 11 and 4. Then you load again from 8 o'clock in the evening till 6 a.m. They want to put something like that in place. And truly, some collateral damage has to happen for the people in the course of fixing it, for it to work.
Long-term good, yeah.
So it's still going to affect business, and there's a lot of. And Dangote put the loss at 140 billion a month.
Wow. Imagine.
But I want to ask a question, because you see, we don't pay attention to the local government sector because we just feel like, oh, maybe
we don't know them.
Well, you see, we have a lot of local government officials, right, that they go to knock on individual SMEs, business and premises, and they collect. And most times, I see their disposition. When you ask them for account numbers, they are already agitated. Correct. They will rather do cash collection. Then they come back with a receipt. Most times, I tell them I'll do a transfer to the account directly because I have an account. But many people do not know that there's even an account number. So they collect this money. How do you even trap what is being collected? Because the revenue that local government officials are collecting is a lot of money. But not everything is trapped.
That goes back to sensitization you're talking
about.
So
how do we put a system in the local government area where you paid the money and you know that it's going straight to the government?
Answer that question. Let me take Bobo. Bobo, are you there?
Some people know they purposely want to pay.
He's out. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead,
okay, you're very, very correct. First is the joint tax board, which is federal and state, all the states. They need to, while you are busy doing the sensitization, which was 7,500 people, you need to streamline all the taxes payable in this country at federal, state, and local. I know that the past government, when Okonjo-Iweala was there, she was just about to start that, and at the end of the day, they were booted out of government, to reconcile that and publish them.
Thank you.
So that people know the taxes that are payable. And no tax has to be paid in cash.
Yes.
Must be paid by either draft or electronic transfer.
Thank you.
And local governments, that is why I said every Thursday they should come out and account for the money they collected. Or they collect on our behalf, because most local government roads are not done.
Exactly.
A lot.
The refuse collection, which is the joint local and state government thing, is not done. And truly as well, many state governments are not accountable. You look at Niger Delta, the state governments collect 30% derivation, but yet everybody, what do they do with it? Yet everybody looks at the federal.
Yes.
So both state and local, there is need. When those 7,500 people come to knock on anybody's door, you should be talking about the matter from both sides. Yes, what do I need to do to get my books right? Like you said, the auditing, my bookkeeping, advise me what to do. Now I have the challenge of local governments coming to knock on my door for tenement rate, radio rate, TV license, blah, blah, blah.
No, in Lagos, that has
So
been
is
unified
this right?
to the Land Use Act, Land Use
Charge.
Charge.
Okay, so
once
can
pay
you help
that-
us, an entrepreneur out there, the various taxes that he or she is supposed to be paying? Just give us just a quick summary.
There are various types, like the acting president said. There's the company's income tax, personal income tax, capital gains tax, petroleum profits tax, technology tax, education levy, education tax rather.
Federal, are these the ones to state?
These are largely
these ones are
federal,
federal.
and then the state is the PAYE one.
Yes,
That's
PAYE.
value-added tax
Yes.
as well, and that's something interesting.
There's withholding tax.
There's withholding tax as well. When the acting president mentioned that, and this is important, I said that there's a disparity between his speech and the executive order. He said, in the speech, he said that applies to taxes administered by federal, state, and local. In the executive order, it says only federal inland revenue and state boards of inland revenue. Now, value-added tax is also collected by Nigerian Customs Service on behalf of government. But VAT is also simultaneously administered by Federal Inland Revenue Service with Customs. So people who have any issues with custom duties, of which VAT is part of it, are they supposed to enjoy part of this amnesty?
Right.
That's a question hanging in the air.
All right.
So.
Unfortunately, we have to run about this segment, but I think it's an ongoing conversation concerning taxes. A lot of people need to know, especially with this 7,500 people going around to knock on doors. So we'll be calling on you very soon again, especially when they come and knock on All right. Thank you very much, sir, for coming.
My pleasure. Thank you
That's
very much.
all we can take on the show today. Thanks for joining us. See you tomorrow. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.